How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Stand Focused for Jesus. Hope each and every one of you are having a blessed day in the Lord Jesus Christ as always. As you see from the title of the video, the title of the sermon, we are going to be discussing frustration. Your favorite word. Nah, but for real, that's not your favorite word. You're like, I'm frustrated right now, brother. You don't know what I've been going through. It's been tough. It's been this. It's been that. I'm so frustrated. I understand. But I'm going to ask this question anyway. Have you ever been frustrated? Of course you have. Have you ever been frustrated with your friends? Have you ever been frustrated with your family? Have you ever been frustrated with your finances? The 3 F's, friends, family, and finances. Have you ever been frustrated with, let's bag it, let's hit that finances, because everybody likes to talk about finances, talk about money. Maybe it's not frustration because you aren't working, but maybe it's frustration because you're working, but then once you get your check is basically gone. Your money, your finances isn't where you want it to be based on the amount of work that you're putting in, and we know what's going on. We know. And so frustration sets in, not because, I ain't got $1 million, I ain't got 2 million. Your frustration is just like, God, I'm just trying to pay bills, basic bills. And my money is gone before I get it. Matter of fact, I'm borrowing money just to pay money that I ain't got. And it's frustrating because you get tired of it. It's frustrating because you know you're not getting paid what you should be getting paid, equal to the work and equal to what's going on in the, in the world, and them jacking up prices of everything. I mean, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated just thinking about it. I'm frustrated when I have to go to Walmart. Let me slow down because I'm about to get turned up. I'm frustrated when I have to go to Walmart and they only have 1 register open, 2 registers open. They got all these self-checkout lines open. They want you to bag your groceries. My bad. They want you to ring your groceries up. They want you to bag your groceries. Then they want to, sometimes check and see, make sure, let me check your receipt and stuff. Even though they're standing right there, they got people standing by the checkout, self-checkout, and they're charging you more money. That's frustrating to me. If I can, I purposely, and yes, self-checkout is convenient. It saves time because you can boom, 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 boom. But if I can, I will purposely go to a register and wait just to feel like I'm getting my money's worth. Because it's ridiculous. I got to check out, I got to scan my stuff, I got to bag my stuff, and you're charging me more, then that's frustrating. And don't get me on Kroger's. Oh my God, Kroger's is my favorite store because they have more health food options. We don't have a Whole Foods here. Where we stay at, the closest one is about an hour away, and we go there maybe once a month. But Kroger's is my favorite store shopping, but I hate Kroger's. I hate Kroger's because every time I go into Kroger's, do self-checkout, they want to act like I'm stealing. And then they got to call somebody over, and they got to review the footage. I'm like, man, this is getting old. I dealt with this, I think it was a few days ago, where it picked me up like I was stealing something like 3 or 4 times. I was like, come on, man, this is pissing me off. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Some of you know what I'm talking about. You shop at Kroger's and then the thing pops up and the person got to come put their little thing and look at the video. I'm like, because the machine is basically accusing you of stealing. You're putting something in the bag that you weren't supposed to. I need to fix their system. That's frustrating. And it's more frustrating because I have the knowledge of why it does that. Did y'all know, you can go look this up, when they first released AI, and there's still problems, when they first released artificial intelligence did not recognize us. It didn't recognize black people. And then when they started to learn or teach the machine would label us criminals and say that we were doing this, we were doing that, when we really weren't. There was a guy, a black guy, I can't remember the name of the video. I think I did a video on it, but maybe I haven't released it. But there was a guy, they used AI to say he committed some crime and it wasn't even him. It was not him. He was not there. He was not guilty of it, and they didn't really apologize. I'm just saying that's frustrating. So I know the inner workings of these systems. So when you're going to these different stores and they're accusing you of stealing, like Kroger's does, it's frustrating. You can do it fast, you can do it slow. It's just like, but have you ever been frustrated at yourself? Of course. Have you ever been frustrated at God or towards God? Be honest. I have. I have vented my frustrations to my Father many times. Many times. We talk about frustration. We feel frustration. We go through frustration, but do we actually know what frustration means? We know what it feels like. But do we actually know what frustration means? Okay. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do. Frustration is defined as the feeling of being upset or annoyed, especially because of inability to change or achieve something. The feeling of being upset or annoyed, especially because of inability to change or achieve something. That right there, that hit the nail in the coffin. Most of my frustrations when I'm speaking to our Father is because of that, because I'm upset, I'm annoyed, I'm disappointed, that's a part of it. I'm irritated that I can't change a situation for the better. I can't impact a situation, I can't impact the person's life or lives, impact people's lives in a way that I desire to impact them, because I can't achieve what I want to achieve. Rather it is finances or whatever it is. And that's frustrating. That's frustrating. I deal with frustrations probably with that. That's most of my frustration right there. Not being able to help people the way I want to help people. Not being able to do stuff right then, like, this ain't really a problem. We can fix this right on the spot, but I don't have the power to do it. That's frustrating. It's frustrating when I cannot express myself in a creative way. I feel bottled up. You ever took a soda and you shook it up and it builds up? You ever took a drink, you shook it up and it builds up and you see it like bubbling and fizzing up, but it has no way of escaping? That's how I feel a lot of times when I can't express myself the way that I know God made me to be. I'm a very creative person. Rather it's in cars, music, poetry, poems, whatever avenue I want to express myself. When I'm not able to do that, I get frustrated. Especially when I know that God has given me a gift. I know that God has given me an idea. It's like, well, why give me this great idea that I can change lives and impact lives, and I can't do anything about it? One of my recent frustrations is, I don't know if you know about this guy. He's called Moses West. You can go look him up. It's called the Moses West Foundation. He has this machine that pulls water from the air, and his goal is to get these machines in places that actually need it. Like when Flint, Michigan and everything went down, he was there. He bought his machine. They tried to sabotage the machine. Well, they didn't try to, they did. You can go look at the story. Some of you know the guy I'm talking about. But my frustration is I don't have the money to be able to give him the money to finance to make more machines, getting the machines in Africa where they need them at and stuff like that. And not so people can say, not so I can put the spotlight on me like, yeah, I'm doing such great things for God. I just want to do great things in that regard. And it's frustrating, it's irritating, it's annoying when you have all these wicked ass people with all this money, but they don't solve any of the world's problems. They make them worse. Like there's no such thing as there being a shortage of water. You got the oceans, we haven't even, oh my God, oceans, the rivers, the lakes. There's no such thing as a shortage of water. Air is literally water. I have a dehumidifier in my house. And guess what? It fills up. Some of you have on your house. What do? You take it and you dump the water. It's pulling in air. That's what his machine basically does. Of course, it's more sophisticated than that, but that's the basic principle so you can understand. And my God, is so frustrating. I go on the page and I'm looking, I'm like, one day I'm going to be able to go and contact him and go out there and see how the machine works and, you know, finance or fund or sponsor so many machines. Those are my dreams and my visions, my real life dreams and visions in regards to why I want more money. Yeah, you get money, you enjoy yourself, of course, that's a given. But that's for selfish reasons. You know, there's nothing wrong with being selfish in that regard. You may say, well, how can selfishness be a good thing? Do you want to share my wife? Some of you probably say, well, yeah, I want to share your wife. But realistically, as a man, do you want to share my wife with me? You want your own wife. So if you want your own wife, what does that make you? That makes you selfish. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with you wanting your own wife. Nothing wrong with you wanting your own husband and being selfish in that regard. Nothing wrong with you not wanting to share your spouse with somebody else. If that's the definition of selfish, then guess what? I'm guilty because I don't want to share my wife. I'm pretty sure she don't want to share me. So, let's go deeper with the definition because we want to get to the root of it. Just call for a second. Okay. It also means defeated, disappointed. But here's the interesting thing. It says making vain or of no effect. That's very, very interesting. That frustration can mean making something vain or of no effect. You ever been on the phone with, and everybody's been through this, but you know what I'm saying, on the phone trying to handle a situation, a bill or whatever it is that's not right, and they put you in contact with somebody that can barely speak English. Nothing against them, but you get frustrated because you're trying to explain the situation to them. You can barely understand them. They can probably barely understand you. You getting frustrated because whatever situation, they act like they don't give a damn, which they probably don't because they getting paid pennies on a dollar. And frustration sets in. Why? In regards to making vain or of no effect. You get so frustrated because you feel like what you're doing is in vain. It's not getting anywhere. Then what do you say? I need to speak to a supervisor. I need to speak to somebody that know what they're talking about. I just went through that today with I've been going through it for, a few weeks with our water bill. We had a water leak and it made the bill astronomically high. The toilet was running and I didn't think it was going to make it that high. So that water bill was like, the first one, because it's going on for like 2 months, like $500 for one water bill. It was frustrating because I'm like, ain't no way a toilet running is using up that much water. But it was my fault because I should have fixed it right there on the spot, but I didn't know it was going, like, come on, man. Like, come on. Like, nah. I didn't have some toilets run in my lifetime, and the water bill didn't get that high. You may say, well, That was the water running and your average usage. My average water bill, our average water bill is like 100 and I'm gonna say 150, because we got a big family, so everybody we wash like every day, and then we got our mother-in-law too, so she washes her clothes and everything. So our water bill is a little bit higher than another person's water bill would be. That's the average. So when you get a water bill that's $500, you're like, oh hell no, oh hell no. And then it was going on for 2 months. So the first water bill, it was higher than the second water bill was higher than the first water bill. So the second one was like 6 or something like that, some crazy amount of money. I'm like, man, no, this is mine. I was like, nah. We called them, told them the situation. They told us, okay, fix the problem, and then it will be adjusted back to your normal usage. That's what we were told. I fixed the problem. I submitted the receipts. Matter of fact, I fixed the problem and submitted the receipts the same day, because I take responsibility, because I should have fixed the toilet and everything, but I didn't think it was gonna, be that high. Like, okay, I get to it. I have other stuff going on. I get to it. But if I would have known, I would have just paid it. So you can say it was my fault. But I was still frustrated. I'm like, ain't no way. Like, nah, bro. Like, y'all didn't have some toilets running back in the day, and your water bill didn't go that high. I don't care how high water is. Like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But we fixed the problem. I fixed the problem. I submitted the receipt for the part. I submitted the receipt for the work and everything as they requested. And then I go to check the water bill, and the water bill is still like, what's up? Because my wife was on the phone talking to him, and they said they were going to email us. They never emailed us. We called them back, found out what was going on, and then we ended up talking to the supervisors, and they said, oh no, because the type of leak it is, we can only adjust it 25% of the bill. Frustration went to a level 3,000, 4,000. You see what I'm saying? And then they dropped it down, still end up being high. I think it was like $300 something when they adjusted it, and I just paid it, because I was like, man, just you folk about to piss me off. Just pay the past due balance, because I didn't pay it because I was waiting for them to adjust it. So I ended up paying it. Then they were talking about late fees. Then they said they had to submit a request for the late fees to be removed. They didn't end up taking the late fees off, even though the late fees were a result of the water leak, which they told us that our bill was going to go back. It was going to be adjusted to our normal usage once the problem was fixed. Now, I was also expecting that, because a few years back, probably like 4 years back, we had a water leak. The water heater was leaking, and the bill was high. The bill was getting so high, they turned the water off, because I didn't know it was leaking. They turned the water off because they were like, whoa. So then I found out, and they told me the same thing. They said, fix the problem. I don't deal with water heaters. So in that case, I called a plumber, my plumber guy. He came out and fixed it, like $100 something, I think like $135. He showed me what the problem was, and then the problem was fixed. And guess what? They adjusted the bill back to the normal usage. So when she said the same thing, I'm like, okay, cool. Not a big deal. No, we can only adjust it 25%. Oh no, that's not what we were told. And we just speak to a manager, supervisor, whatever. And we ended up speaking to the supervisor, and the supervisor was telling us that. And of course, the frustration sets in, because nobody wants to pay for something they didn't use, and something that was fixed, and they know that they can adjust it. And then they came back. They didn't take the late fee off, so we had 2 late fees. The late fees were $35 a piece. So we end up getting on a payment plan for, we paid the one amount, and then we still had the other amount for last month, because the way they do it is you pay for the month before. When the bill drops, you're paying for the previous month. So it's really last month that we just paid for. The one before we paid for the month before that. But the bill I just paid today, it was like 3 something also. Because they claimed they adjusted it. And it was reduced from the amount, and the lady, she was just not knowing what the hell she was doing. When we talked to the supervisor prior to that, we set up a payment plan where they take it and they split it over 6 months. I like, just see what splitting, then just split it for now, because I was frustrated. I just split the bill 6 months, and now I just pay it. I pay the whole thing next month instead of dragging it out for 6 months. So they divide it, and they added on your they added on your bill. So if you got $150 and then you break that 6 months down, your average usage is $150, and then they add, let's say, $30. So you're paying $180 instead of the $150. That's just how they do it. So I said, let's just do this, and then I just pay the whole thing off, the past due or whatever. I need to pay the rest of these bills to make sure that everything is everything before I just pay this whole thing off, because that was unexpected. We set that up, or we thought we did, or we thought they did. And I let time pass because the bill wasn't due yet. Our bill is due on around the 15th. And this happened early in the month because most of the time I pay all the bills at the beginning of the month. I just knock them all out and then handle, if anything pops up, like, through the rest of the month or whatever. So time passes, and now it's time to pay the water bill. Remember, we already paid the so-called past due balance. Now it's time to pay this month, which is really last month's. The new bill is going to drop on the 20th of this month, because today is what's today? Today is the 15th, 16th, 17th, something like that. And so the bill is going to drop on the 20th, and then it's not due until next month, which would be December 15th. You see what I'm saying? Boom, the bill's due. I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and pay it. I get on the phone and saying 360 something. I'm like, huh? Oh no, this ain't right. And it was on a Sunday. Today is Monday. I text my wife and say, hey, make sure you call these folks, see what's going on. We get on the phone. She gets on the phone with them. Come to find out, they didn't even apply the breaking down the bill across 6 months. And when we set that up, we spoke to the supervisor. Then the way she was explaining it didn't make any sense, and frustration just sets in. I don't care if we had the money or not, which we do have the money, but it was just like, it was a situation where you felt like you weren't being heard. You felt like everything that you were doing was in vain. It was to no effect. So the frustration sets in. And then I said, I was going to say, just pay the whole thing, just get it out the way. I said, just pay $200. She's like, well, I'll just do $100 right now. I said, no, do $200. So she gets on the phone, and she's talking to the people, and we just put $200 on it, and I just pay the difference, because I got the money to go ahead and pay it, but I just didn't want to give them that money all at one point in time, when it shouldn't even be that. Like, it should be adjusted to the actual usage. And then you charge them basically $70 in late fees that you can waive. Oh, because y'all making all this money on these late fees. Frustration sets in. They can look at the water bill and see, oh, they've been here for XYZ years. Their water has never been off. They pay their bill. Let's extend to them some grace. Nah, you don't get no grace. You're going to pay these $70. And then she got an attitude about it, passive aggressive. Well, normally people just pay their bills. I want to say, I ain't gonna lie, I want to say, bitch, who do you think you talking to? Like, we pay our bill. Don't act like we don't pay our bill. y'all know I'm not finna sugarcoat. That's what I wanted to say. My flesh wanted to say that, like, who you think you talking to? You better check them records. We pay our water bill. Don't act like we don't pay our bill. Don't try me like that. Like, yeah, have we been behind a few times? Of course, everybody's been behind on some type of bill at one point in time. But we pay our bills. And a lot of times we pay it early if we can. I don't like that. I don't like that. Don't sit here and talk about somebody not paying something. This is what people, what are they doing? This is what people, normally do, or normally people pay their bill. Like, what are you saying? That's frustrating because it makes me feel like what I'm doing is in vain, none effect in the sense of them. Now, here's where it gets even deeper. When you look at the root of frustration, which comes from frustrate, it means a deception, to deceive, in vain, in error, which is related to, let me see if I pronounce it right, frost, F-R-A-U-S, which is where we get the word fraud from. Your frustrations come in because you feel like you're being deceived. Just like I think everybody's going through this right now with these power companies, and they're charging these fees. You're like, why in the heck is the fees just as much, if not more, than my actual usage? And you're looking in like, man, this is confusing, this and that. You get on the phone, you talk to somebody, and like, nah, this ain't right. And they can't explain it, and they give you some bull jive reason, and the reason they're giving you is bull jive, but you just can't express and know specifically what they're doing. You just know that something ain't right. Just like when these banks be moving numbers around in your account, they take the money out, the money is gone, and then you thinking the money is gone already, but the money ain't really gone, and now you get a late fee. Bank of America Bank of America got caught for that. And a lot of them got caught for doing that. But I remember when I used to work at Target, tell you how long ago this was, in my 20s, and I used to make like, dollar purchases, candy bars, Burger King, stuff like that, and I was getting hit with $35 insufficient funds for something that was $1, $2, and it was pissing me off. To the point, I like, y'all ain't finna get this from me, because this is ridiculous. And I was looking, I said, but I said, this was last week. I said, I had the money. I didn't understand what they were doing, but I knew what they were doing, it wasn't right. They were being deceptive, right? They were deceiving me. They were doing things, in error, and the error was on their end, but they were doing it purposely. They were purposely defrauding people. And Bank of America and all these banks got caught doing this. That's where your frustration really sets in, because you feel like you're being deceived. You know that something isn't right with the situation, but there's nothing you can really do about it in that regard, and there's nothing you can do about it overall to, fix the system in that regard. But what about, you got injury, harm, and again, fraud. So we talked about, and we mentioned being frustrated at God or toward God, or venting our frustrations toward God. Is that wrong? Is that wrong? No, it's not wrong to vent your frustrations toward God. If you feel like somebody's getting over on you, which we know this world gets over on us, all of us, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, they are defrauding us. They are defrauding us of our money. They are defrauding us of our time. They are defrauding us of our lives. Excuse me. You vent your frustrations to God because of what they're doing. But what about specifically you feeling frustrated at God because of, God, you ain't like, come on, God, you ain't doing, like, we've all been there. I know I've been there, like, come on, God, don't you see me? I've literally stood out in the middle of the street and just, I know you see me trying, like, help me here. Help me, Father. I've literally done that. I'm not going to sit here and lie and sugarcoat it. I'm telling you, I've been frustrated to that point, like, come on. Help me, please. I'm dying down here. Send me a lifeline right now. I need a blessing right now, God. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, today, right now. You're venting your frustrations to God. Is there something wrong with that? No. No, because you're being honest. And God responds. Because you don't want to feel like, and we know we know that what we're doing isn't in vain, but sometimes we feel like what we're doing is in vain. Paul addressed that. He reminded us of that the labor that we're doing, everything that we're going through right now, no matter how frustrating it is not in vain, because God is not a vain God. Everything he said is going to happen, and his word he put forth is going to be fulfilled. And if it's going to be fulfilled, that means it has purpose, because it's fulfilled. It's not empty. It's not vain. And God reminds us of that in the scripture where he says, and let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. If we don't stop doing what we are called to do, then we will reap in due season. Don't faint at well doing. You can be frustrated. You can get frustrated at God. I mean, all throughout the scripture, we see Israelites, they expressing their frustration like, oh, Lord, this and that, crying out, complaining and stuff. Rather, it was for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. I tell my children all the time, if you're going to complain, make sure that you're complaining for a legit reason. If you're going to cry, make sure that you're crying because it's a legit reason why you're crying. Just don't be crying just to cry. Don't cry no Esau tears. Cry because you need to cry. I mean, there's times I've cried. I've cried in front of my family, my children, my boys, my wife, in frustration. And the frustration was them crying like, oh, y'all just, y'all about to, not, and, I can't be broken because I belong in the spirit, but just that feeling of you about to break and everything. I've been there. It's like nobody's listening. It's frustrating when they don't want to listen. You don't want to just whoop everybody all the time and be yelling and screaming all the time. That gets old. I yell and scream, but I don't just want to sit here and yell and scream all day, every day, because people ain't listening. So it's like, Lord, like, is this in vain? I'm doing what I'm probably doing according to your word, and the profits, the money ain't, the pay ain't lining up like you said. The check kind of short. I put in $1,000 worth of work, and there's only 500. Where the other 5 at, Lord? I'm just being real, y'all. That's how we feel sometimes. But again, God always reminds us, like, I know I see your frustration. Sometimes it's like that, but don't mean I ain't gonna give you money. And when I give you your money, or I give you your blessing or whatever it is, boom, he go extra. That was your test. You vented your frustrations. You said what you need to say. Okay, now it's time for me to talk. You didn't go back to the word. I allowed that to happen to test your faith to see what you're going to go back to the word. You didn't go back to the word. Now we got a problem. Because you claiming you trust us. But do you really trust? These are the questions that God may pose to you. You can vent your frustration. You can vent your frustration at God. But you may not like how God responds. You can vent your frustrations at God. But are you going back to the word of God? Are you going back to, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. He's reminding us. I know your frustration. I know what you're going through. I know everything. But stay rooted and grounded in the faith. Go back to the word. Then he also tells us, I do not frustrate the grace of God. For if righteousness come by the law, then Christ is dead in vain. You see how I tied in both of them? Then Christ is dead in vain. For I do not frustrate the grace of God. We're not frustrating the grace of God. We just want certain situations to be fixed. We just want certain situations to be fixed. We want certain things to happen in our life. There's nothing wrong with being frustrated. There's nothing wrong with being frustrated with evil. There's nothing wrong with being frustrated that people are being taken advantage of. There's nothing wrong with being frustrated by that. We should be frustrated. We should be irritated. We should be annoyed. We should be angry. We should be disappointed. We should be upset. And we should be pointing those frustrations toward God in the sense of, God, this is what's going on. You see what's going on. Fix it, God. Fix it. That's why we pray. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. If we're praying for his kingdom to come, then what are we praying for? We're praying for the evil to be taken away. In the prayer, we are venting our frustrations. In the prayer, we are venting our frustrations. Like when you pray, you don't think you're venting your frustrations? God, this is going on, that going on. Lord, fix it. 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 Lord, help me. Lord, fix it. Lord, fix it. Lord, help me. It may not be that dramatic, but it depends on the situation. But when we take the word frustration deeper, it also means despise, reject, bring to nothing, disannul, cast off, make void, to act toward something as though it were nothing. When we voice our frustrations toward God, we are not voicing our frustrations toward God directly in the sense of we're frustrated with him in the sense of we despise or reject him. We're like, is you going to do something? Like, you see what's going on. Like, let's be honest. Do something, God. Like, show your power, show your might. Shake this wicked ass world up. Fulfill your word like you said. We are holding God to his promises. But we know that God don't move in our timing. He moves in his timing according to his purpose. And just because he's not moving in our little world that we live in don't mean he ain't moving in other people's worlds. I was over here doing this first, then I'm going to come over here. Don't worry, I got you. Are we understanding? But if you do vent your frustration toward God directly, like, it's your fault. Like, I'm despising you, I'm rejecting you because you allowed my mother, my father to die of this disease and all this other thing. You know how people be, they start hating God when one of their loved ones get taken. You can do that too. But you may not like how God responds. His response is going to be one of, I hear you. I'm letting you know that I hear you. And now I'm going to tell you why I did these different things. Your mother, your father, your child, whoever, they gone. What about you? Now it's like, oh snap. He answered me. He actually answered me. What do you do with that when God answers you in your frustration? The reality is most people, they turn away from God even more when God answers them. Because you're crying out because you want God to answer you. Everybody wants to be heard, which is why it says to act toward something as though it were nothing. People act that way as if God is nothing because they feel like that they aren't being heard themselves. They're venting their frustration of them not being heard toward God. They're like, okay, if they ain't hearing me, then I'm going to act that way toward you because you ain't hearing me. That's why people do it. Then God answers like, oh, he answered me. Now they can't point that frustration toward God like they did because he actually answered them. What are you going to do about that when he answers you? Nobody wants to feel like as though they were nothing. Nobody wants to feel like their voice and their concern or their problem isn't being heard. And that's just among people. When you call them because they didn't charge you this amount of money for something you know that you ain't supposed to be charged for, whatever the situation is, and you know that something ain't right, but you can't prove it because you're limited in power. That is frustrating. They acting like you don't matter when you do matter because you're the one that's paying their salary. You're the one that's paying for these companies to stay alive. They wouldn't be nothing without you, without us. So your voice does matter. Unless you turn away from the Most High. Then when the Most High says that you don't matter, you're nothing, then, hey, what can you do about that? Only thing you do about that is humble yourself so he can make you something. God, back in the day, my father told me, he said, you nothing. Okay, you something, but what you think you are, you ain't nothing. You're a beast. You're not a man, you're a beast. Excuse me, and I saw the beast that I had become. It was like a split second, but it felt like a lifetime. Like, oh my God, it scared the hell out of me. I ain't gonna lie. And I saw that monster I had become, the Lord showed me. It scared the hell out of me. Probably cried on the inside, and probably my spiritual soul probably pissed in my spiritual pants when I saw that, when the Lord showed me what I had become. I was nothing. I was a beast made to be taken and destroyed. Here I was thinking that I was something, I was somebody, when God said, okay, you think you're a man, but you're not a man. Because I didn't make you to do the things that you're doing. So therefore you are nothing as a result of that, because you think you're a man, but you're void. You're vain. Everything about you is vain. Everything about me was vain. I gotta look a certain way and do this, my hair and this. Like I used to tell y'all, told you these stories 1,000 times. I had the Steve Harvey before everybody knew what the Steve Harvey was. My hair, I didn't have a beard like I do now, but my hair and my waves, like, it had to be on point. If my barber was slipping, I would fire my barber and go find another barber, even if I had to go to another city or state. I had to have the best haircut. My haircut, I used to get my haircut. People would say if I didn't have a haircut, they would think there's something wrong with me. Like when I was going through some things in life and my edge up wasn't fresh, like, you all right? You sick? You good? Because that's the image that I portrayed. My haircut was so fresh when I was in that world of vanity that I could have literally been on a GQ magazine or magazines. And I did get into a little modeling after the fact and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it was vain. It was vain. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to have the best haircut, have the best, looks that I could have for vain reasons. And when you talk about vanity, it was what? It was vain. It was empty. Empty. Because beauty is fleeting. Here I am, I gotta wear glasses. I don't like wearing glasses, but I gotta wear them because I can't hardly. I can see, but it ain't like it was before. Especially at nighttime. Oh Lord, daytime I'm good, but nighttime, nah. I had that one experience. I knew I was delivering cars. Some of you remember that. And I was coming home from Texas, and it was raining, and I was praying so hard because I could not see. The way I made it home is I got behind an 18-wheeler. I got behind several 18-wheelers, and I trailed them doing whatever speed limit they were doing, because my vision, I don't know what happened, just like overnight, like, oh my God. And after that, I went and got some glasses. But I don't want to wear glasses, Vanity is vanity. Beauty is fleeting. The body breaks down. You don't look as good as you used to before. Your beauty flees, as the word tells you, but what remains? What remains is the true beauty. What's inside? The spirit. Do you have the spirit of the wheat, or do you have the spirit of the tares? Because you think you look good today, but guess what? There's always somebody that look better than you. And there's always somebody that's going to replace you. You may be a bad looking woman today, but put a few years on that body, and now you got this up and coming young woman, and everybody's gonna be going goo goo gaga over her when they were just going goo goo gaga over you, because you ain't hot no more. Your breasts ain't as perky. Your skin ain't as glowing as it used to be, and you keep on trying to fight and fight and fight and fight to stay relevant according to your beauty, instead of fighting to stay relevant according to your inward beauty. You keep on trying to stay relevant according to what you can do with your physical body. Oh, you know, women, I got this box, and this box still hidden, and they love it. Or the men, I got this, you know what I'm saying, jangling, and you know, I can still lay it down. Okay. One day you ain't gonna be able to, but the work gonna continue on. And some other men is out here doing way better things than what you can do. But we all, when we walk in the flesh, want to feel like that we the best, that everything that we do, we're the best to have ever done it. Do we take that same initiative? Do we take that same mindset and apply it to the spirit? I want to be the best in regards to God made me to be. I want to be one of the best preachers of my generation, not according to what man thinks or how man ranks pastors. I want to go before God himself, and he said, yeah, you going down in the hall of faith. Y'all know I say that. I don't want to just make it into the league of the Lord. I want to go down as one of the greatest of my generation, the greatest of my time. That's what I shoot for, my preaching, through honesty, through speaking messages that are actually relatable to people, messages that you can say, you know what, I'm going through that same thing or something similar right then. That to me is what is going to make me great, is living according to how the word says, and not being fake, and you know, saying I never did this to God, and like, no, I've done that. God, I know you see me. Not lying and sitting saying that I don't use strong language when I'm not even on camera. Sometimes I'm frustrated and I use the strong language. It's not in a spiritual way. Sometimes it's fleshly. I'm using language. Is it every day? No. It happens when it happens. I don't wake up and say, you know, I'm going to use some strong language today. I'm not finna sit here and lie to y'all. I'm not finna sit here and lie to myself. And I'm definitely not finna sit here and lie to my Father. But hopefully this message was edifying for you. Hopefully this message helped you to overcome your frustrations. If I understand them, then how much more does God understand your frustrations? Even though you may be frustrated right now, even though you are frustrated right now, whatever the situation is, don't fall away from the faith. What you're doing is not in vain. God hears your prayers. God hears our prayers. And in due time, things will be made right. Continue to hold on strong. Continue to stay focused for Jesus. And with that being said, God bless each and every one of you in Jesus Christ's name. As always, stay focused for Jesus. And as you know, the truth is not debated. It is declared. Love y'all.